My name is Eddie Knighton, and my research partner is Kaylee Cobb. This is our research proposal for EDL 523, First Steps Working with Families in Preparation for the Kindergarten Year. Kindergarten readiness is a hot issue in education right now, and it's gaining in importance as our society becomes more technologically advanced and smarter. Students now, when they enter kindergarten, are expected to have a knowledge base that they used to learn in kindergarten and first grade, which includes sufficient cognitive development and increasing mathematical skills and social and emotional intelligence that we'll discuss briefly in a minute with the National Center of Learning Disabilities checklist for what to expect and for kindergarten preparedness. Therefore, parents and caregivers need to be active co-educators, and we have to communicate with parents in order to assist them and find out what they need from us, and what do they need to be able to inform us about their children's needs. The increased need for kindergarten readiness, our statement of the problem, is that there is a disparity in readiness for students entering kindergarten, specifically in the Hamilton Elementary School District that we'll be referencing. The purpose of the study is to minimize the disparity by working with parents to accommodate students' individual readiness needs by developing a localized and individualized system to assist parents in kindergarten preparedness. In other words, we're wanting to shift the focus on the individual students and opening a communication and a relationship with their parents aimed toward preparation. Justification of the study is twofold. As already referenced, the heightened emphasis placed on developing kindergarten readiness by administration and educators. Second, the students at Hamilton Elementary are collectively below average compared to the national readiness standards. The literature is substantial. For educators and academic database, there's thousands upon thousands of available articles and journals ranging from developmental psychology, sociology between rural and urban area schools, all the way down to, ergonomic things that you can do to make classrooms more inviting for kindergarten preparedness. And as far as the information that's available to parents, that's also substantial. You can enter the search phrase kindergarten readiness and get thousands of websites directed at parents. And on the very first search from that phrase, it redirects you to the National Center of Disability Learning Kindergarten Readiness Indicators checklist, which, more proactive parents can get the checklist, check it off, sort of gain an understanding of what to expect in going into kindergarten. But, as educators, we can anticipate that a lot of parents won't be so proactive. A lot of parents just send their kids to school and they believe that's where learning starts. Part of this objective is informing parents that this is not the case and working with them to understand what is necessary for kindergarten readiness and the need for kindergarten readiness. There's no specific literature pertaining to the Hamilton County that we're referencing. And also we take into consideration that there are differences culturally between different school districts, different classrooms, and different students. So this really is a action-based research to find out how to help the specific students and the individual students in this school district and how to improve that system from year to year. The research participants, as I've noted, is the parents and pre-kindergarten students zoned to attend the Hamilton Elementary for kindergarten in 2021 school year. And this includes the public schools in that district and the child care centers within that district. The proposed study will include surveys, one at the start and at the finish of the year, and sporadic progress forms. The surveys will be take home and the parents will be expected to fill them out and mail them back. As far as the data collection, the 3 types of surveys is the preliminary survey at the beginning of the year, which surveys parents' knowledge of their students' academic and emotional intelligence, as well as it also introduces the requirements for kindergarten readiness. Some example questions, that's very open-ended. It would be a simple survey because you don't want it to be daunting or discouraging to some parents, but what are your child's strengths? Does your child choose to do things for themselves, such as help themselves in the bathroom, choose and pick out their own clothes? What are some of the areas that you feel your child can use some extra support? You kind of gauging that parent in that situation. The progress and update surveys, again, assesses that situation and informs parents of their progress and what they can do to help. And the end of the year survey will measure specifically the parents' qualitative experience and what we could have done to make it easier for them to help their students, so we can implement that in the following year. The data analysis, it's qualitative interpretation of the questionnaires on 2 levels. The first, per individual student, to assess and identify unique preparatory needs so we can communicate that to the kindergarten teacher. Collectively, you can gather information about the class, the preschool, possibly even the school district to identify negative and positive patterns for future implementation or corrections. An emphasis on this is to be placed on the most requested and helpful suggestions made by the families, because again, this is about helping parents. The limitations and delimitations are pretty obvious. It's informal. It's intended to assess the improvement needs of this specific context of Hamilton Elementary in that school district. It's not definitive, and it pertains only to this regional culture, and it anticipates variation between school years. So in other words, we recognize that these corrective measures may or may not work, and we'll have to adjust them as we go along. And the proposed timeline is 1 school year from August to June. Some assumptions: increased parental caregiver awareness of the kindergarten readiness expectation will increase their support of the educator at home, being aware of those things on that checklist when they previously would not have been. Their mandatory involvement will also give us support at home. So it kind of keeps them focused on it and keeps them helping their student. The study will provide educators and administrations the caregivers' perspectives of pre-K strengths and weaknesses. The students' educational needs also become more individualized earlier in their academic career, making possible for more customized planning for the students. Interconnectedness between preschool and kindergarten educators will contribute toward an overall increase of the students' readiness. And at the very least, and most importantly, some students will enter the school system more prepared than they were. And if that even happens to one child, then it's a study worthwhile. As for the references, I outlined the research with the textbook, Introduction to Education Research, and the checklist, again, comes from National Center of the Learning Disabled, which can be viewed online, as well as a plethora of resources. Thank you.